What's up, guys, and welcome to the lands of Alaire. I'm Ian, the Dungeon Master, and I'm joined here by my two friends, Tori and Aaron of Joined by Gaming, my younger brother Tyler, our good friend Scott, and my older brother TJ, and this is what we're going to call the start of a new season. We've been working really hard on technical stuff behind the scenes, trying to get everything back and up and running, and I hope that I hope it all runs very smoothly. We're a little bit out of practice, so bear with me if I stumble a little bit, and bear with us if there's any technical difficulties, but I'm super excited to be back at it. And we're going to call this Season 4, Episode 1, because the last episode we actually managed to get out felt like a season finale. It was a shorter season, but a lot got done, so we'll see where Season 4 leads us. So, I'll have to write up a big recap. I'm sure we'll have a recap episode coming up soon, but here's the recap for what happened last episode, at least. So, last we left off, our heroes, Maylee, Leander, Jar, and Gilroy, hastened their journey to the settlement of Waterwheel. Hurston drove night and day, traveling at great speed, as to arrive prior to an upcoming Farenwellian siege. In the meantime, Erlon fell into a deep sleep after committing to a sacred ritual which reconnected his spirit with his blood-sworn ancestors, the Frost Giants. During their travel, Zorn, the half-orc wizard, expressed reluctance to hold back for this particular battle, and helped form a plan to keep Clara the Azamar close to the party and out of harm's way. Arena, Gentel, and Hiron agreed, as their skills would be necessary to hold any sort of front, and they wouldn't be able to commit their attention to the young Azamar. After a few days of travel, our party overlooked the valley in which Waterwheel resides. The battle had just begun, Farenwellian soldiers slogging through the mud and up to the thick stone walls, the lightning gate crackling and snapping above their heads, all the while arrows and boulders rained down from the sky. Hurston cracked the reins. Driving alongside the battlefield, he barely managed to skirt under the hefty iron gates of the town, with the assistance of Singstalter, the gnomish inventor, as well as Zorn, who hopped out the back of the wagon, and heroically, a stream of magic fire emitting from his hands held back the enemy soldiers. Riding through town, our party found that, though there was great structural damage to many buildings throughout town, most of the inhabitants had been guided to the safety of the caves. However, the northern gate was soon to be overrun, and so Hiron, Gentel, and Arena came running bravely to bolster their defenses. Hurston dropped off the party near Rotbeard's brewery, which was surrounded by Farenwellians, and together they dispatched their enemy with the assistance of Godric the Goliath, as well as Fralthane Half-Ogre. Regrouping inside of Rotbeard's, our party and their companions decided on their next move. Our party informed Godric, leader of Waterwheel's defenses, that a large rebel force was making their way from Sarengar, and were due to arrive within 3 days. Godric surmised that, though the people would survive, the settlement of Waterwheel itself will not. So some other course of action must be taken to buy some time. Arena determined the one thing that would halt the siege is to fool the Farenwellians into thinking they have an opportunity to catch Clara the Azamar. Singstalter advised that multiple wagons that looked just like the Landmaster had been created in the party's absence, and a plot was formed to send them in all directions, dividing Farenwell's forces. Gilroy, thinking quickly, made use of teleportation magic to move Arena and Clara to Steelhammer Stronghold, further to the north, greatly reducing the overall risk of the plan. Once they were prepared to enact their plan, Hiron suggested he stay in Waterwheel in order to have a full account of the battle to present to the councils of Elenvir, whereas Fralthane yearned to fight at Erlon's side once more, and so joined the party as they rode out. Taking the roads north through the Whispering Pines, our party was chased by cavaliers and ballista carts. Using magic, steel, and the Landmaster's defenses, our party managed to cut down their pursuers, and as they drew deeper into the woods, their old agreements with the circle of druids who reside there came to fruition. Entangling vines shot out from the underbrush, lining the roads, further impeding the Farenwellian soldiers. Suddenly, Erlon awoke, and sensing his friends nearby, moved swiftly to rejoin them. Hurston veered the Landmaster west towards the hills, and our party made for a strategic position where they could make a stand against their foe. And so, we'll cut on over to a familiar map, just outside of the chamber of the Everlasting Father. You guys had found those cryptic runes and the oily seeds some weeks prior. Probably, rather, over here.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, you manage to make your way all the way to the cliff face, and you see, well, as you make your way to the rocky hillside of the wagon bumping about and the axles creaking, Hurston calls out from the reins, and he goes, how are we looking? Anyone in pursuit? And you four can throw a perception check.
That's a 14.
14.
6.
29.
Jar!
There we go.
Peering forth with your incredibly keen eyesight, you can see further down in the valley, there are great winds whipping about in the treetops, probably the magics of these druids further keeping the soldiers at bay. However, further towards Waterwheel, you can notice the metallic flashes of a fresh battalion marching forth. Led by a man riding a powerful warhorse, his broad shoulders are covered in gleaming plate, and there are two huge dog-like beasts at his side. In some manner, you can tell by the color of his crest on his plate, he is some manner of Farenwellian general, probably who is leading this attack on Waterwheel, the person sent by the king. And also you notice, marching his way on up towards the clearing along the hillside is your friend, Erlon, who approaches the wagon at great speed.
Very much.
Yeah, boom. And before you can get too close, Erlon, you feel a shaking in the ground and a great bounding, and from beyond a tree comes running Fralthane, who picks you up and just grabs you and goes, Erlon!
Fralthane, it's good to see you.
He sets you on down, and kind of kneeling, he goes, it has been a worthy fight in Waterwheel, but I'm glad to see you. And he gives you kind of a bit of a shake, and he goes, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm sorry, everybody. Sorry I wasn't there. I had to answer the call of my ancestors.
I was not worried, but where have you been? Exactly.
Zorn stepping forth goes, or Jantel goes, I was wondering the same thing. I felt a whispering in the winds.
So, Erlon's much more of a shower than a teller.
No doubt.
So, he just like breathes in really deep, and then his eyes open, he's very stern looking, and he starts swinging Bloodletter around, yelling in Giantish, and then you notice that frost starts to go around the axe and the surrounding trees and around myself.
Yes.
A frost growing.
And I suppose those of you who are keen to such things, those of you who can detect magic in your eyesight essentially, can see Erlon's tattoos, in a magical sense, have an aura now that depict a strength, essentially. And yeah, it is intensely magical, the feeling that you get from this. And Fralthane's eyes go wide as he takes a few steps back, and he goes, never seen anything like that.
Oh, just wait till we get into the fight.
And Zorn, he speaks up for a moment, going, yes, we've done well thus far. I feel as though we have done a good job dividing their forces and evading them. And I must say, I'm personally impressed by young Hiren. Staying back to record this battle may be very useful for our cause. These Farenwellians, shakes his head, no better than those I used to belong to. And you can see, Zorn has garnered age during your adventures and whatnot, as well as magical power. But this escape, physically, is wearing on him much more than Jantel or Hurston, or those who are much more used to marching around in the hills and whatnot. And he goes, don't you worry about me, friends. When the Farenwellians come, I've more than enough spells left to deal with them. And Hurston is feeding the horses, and he kind of turns back over his shoulder and he goes, alright, we can ride out in a few more minutes. These fine beasts need a little bit longer. And he seems to be giving them water, giving them feed and whatnot. And as you guys kind of gather about, you can take a short rest if you need to, if you're wounded.
I'm not, but I could use some spell slots.
Sure, yeah.
Nice.
And during that time, Fralthane sits down next to you, Erlon, as he's incredibly pleased to see you once more, and he goes, Waterwheel's a strong town, stronger than I've ever seen. Lowton would have been overrun. I'm glad to be here still,
I'm glad you're still safe.
but I saw someone, big man, their leader. He had angry beasts with him, and, well, we fought for a minute, but he was too strong for me.
For you?
For me, he wielded a magical hammer. I couldn't hold him. Then he kind of looks down in shame for a moment, and then he kind of shakes himself out of it and goes, but no matter. He'll be coming soon, and I'll be at your side this time.
We'll take him down together.
And he unsheathes his great sword and kind of takes stance, looking down towards the rest of the valley beneath. And Jantel also takes a moment to rest, patches up her wounds, helps Zorn patch up his wounds as well. And it is in that moment that very suddenly horns ring out from below, echoing throughout the hills, and you can hear the clip-clop of distant hooves. However, with surprising speed, and a great crackling sound tears open in the trees near you, and Farenwellians come pouring out, weapons drawn. Let's say this man.
Whoa. Holy smokes.
And you can see that this includes the plate-clad general that had been noted before, his chest emblazoned with the red griffin of Farenwell. He has a shaved head, marked with scars from his claw swipes, you can see. And he is accompanied by what appears to be a spellcaster of sorts, a sorceress to his left, as well as two huge dog-like beasts bred for war. And the general calls out, "Good trick. Sending out all those wagons. Fooled my captains. Had them scrambling every which way. I had to send message to the king himself before I could requisition a spellcaster strong enough to bypass those woods." And he gestures behind him. Tracking you down, on the other hand, was easy. Now then, I don't intend to fail my liege. Never have, you see. Kind of stands up straight and tugs at his collar, and the plate about him kind of goes, points towards the spellcaster beside him and goes, "You cooperate and you're free." And then he points back at the rest of you and he goes, "And you, tell us what you did with the girl, or die without honor like the bandit you are."
What girl?
"The Azamar."
What's an Azamar?
"Oh, don't play coy. There's sense all over you." And the dogs snarl and snap, and you can see these beasts have not been treated well, and they're the drool pouring from their mouths. This man is a cruel man, you can tell immediately. And he goes, "No lies, no tricks." "Where is she?"
Why should we tell you?
"Stay alive? Maybe the king will forgive you. Maybe you'll have a parade in Lancaster. Heroes of Farenwell."
Well, I do love a parade, but the smell is just horse lather.
He scoffs. "You don't know the least of it. Now then, we talking or we fighting?"
Oh, it's about time.
Roll in as well. He just goes, "We're fighting!" So, we can roll initiative.
Now, had we gotten in our hit dice?
Yes, yeah, go ahead if you want to.
Goodness.
There you go. It was worth it. I got 8. As usual.
Well played. I'm gonna add Frothay to the turn to act with all the NPCs. So,
Don't go off his initiative.
yeah. Gilroy with an 8. Leander,
14.
14. Maley,
17.
17. Jar,
23.
23. No, Erlon's not in there. Oh. Gotcha. Erlon,
Also 14.
14. And Frothay and friends. Wow.
I think our odds are pretty good.
You are doing pretty well there, yeah.
I don't like where I'm standing.
Yeah, they kind of got the jump on you. So, Frolthane and your other allies will be acting first. Frolthane will run up here, hits the dog. He does not. Gentel will move back, and you can see Gentel's immediate response is essentially to keep Hurston out of the fight because he has no combat experience, whereas Frolthane seems to be taking the lead, so she misses with her first bow shot. She will hit with her second one for 10 on this big wolf-like being. And Zorn, doing what he does, will run over this way and cast a quick Burning Hands. Alright, and that will bring us to melee. Or actually, descending. Where'd Jar go? Oh, Jar didn't get his thing. 23. My bad, you should have gone first. Jar, your go.
Okay, where's the commander on the map there?
This gentleman.
That
Let
gentleman.
me see. Can you guys not see his name? Is it on the
No.
nameplate?
It's got a health bar.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes.
Is that Frolthane
Yeah.
in front of him? He's how far away?
He is from you.
From the commander.
Oh, Frolthane?
He's
like
5, 10, 15, about 15, 20 feet.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to hit the commander and everything around him within 20 feet. Just edging it a little bit behind the commander to miss Frolthane with the fairy fire.
So there, now we have it noted. He is General Reeve, and this lady here is the sorceress, who you note is seemingly channeling some spell on the general. However, I have 20-foot radius would be the sorceress, the general, and his 2 hounds. Yeah,
It's a DC 14.
14. So first ward succeeds, sorceress succeeds, general succeeds. Second ward fails. So this one at least is fairy fired.
Okay.
Boom.
And,
Bonus action.
yeah, bonus action. Jar's going to run behind the landmaster. Gonna run and like dive underneath it,
Sure.
kind of sliding, undercover.
Like right over there.
Oh no!
And that'll bring us to melee.
Typical. Alright, I'm. Don't really have money. I'm going to try and back up as close as I can to the edge of the cliffs or caves.
Sure.
whatever's- I'm going to use sharpshooter on the fairy fire.
All right. That's gonna hit.
For 20.
20. And your next shot.
Same thing. Just,
Yeah.
that'll be 19.
Yeah.
For 17.
17. He is very, very close. Yeah.
Alright.
Erlon.
So, Erlon's already activated the Ice Giant Blessing while showing you guys. So now, Erlon calls out to the Ancestor Spirit, Walter, let's show them our fury.
And as Walter materializes beside you, he materializes for the first time in a kneeling position and stands up and he goes, "Anytime a fight beside your side, Erlon." And what would you like to do?
I'm going to go straight for the commander,
Okay. You're in
because
charge.
I feel bad for these dogs.
Right. Yeah,
and
no
everybody
doubt.
else.
Yeah. I know.
Meanwhile, Melee's laying into him.
Yeah. Hey, not my fight. Well, yeah. Reckless attack, great weapon fighting.
Okay.
That's gonna be 21.
21 will not hit. So as you bring Bloodletter down, you hit this magical barrier, and you can see the sorceress wince as she seems to be maintaining this extra plate, this magical plate. So what would you like to do with your next attack? You also note the sorceress, she has her head covered, and she's hardly looking at the general as she's casting these spells. Sorceresses, or druids, or whatever she may be, are not requisitioned kindly to serve under the Farenwellians.
Would I know that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, you'd be familiar with the way that it works, because they would have to have used such magical entities to have found your people during those battles and whatnot, so yeah. But yeah, you see, she is channeling a powerful defensive spell on this general. However, she doesn't look like she's enjoying it.
So, I mean, I'm in a rage.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you're not exactly the right person.
yeah. So I'm going to attack her
Okay.
in my fury and shout at the same time, "You better run!" And that's going to be 22 to hit.
Yeah.
That is, with rage, 20 damage.
20. You bring Bloodletter down. General Reeves' turn. Yeah. He looks towards you and he goes, how long have I waited for you to meet my hammer? And he brings it on down with some great force. And he's going to be throwing a 17 on that one?
Yep.
So that's going to be doing to you 11 bludgeoning.
It's not as horrible as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, he's got resistances and weapons and stuff. That's going to be a miss.
I'll be 20.
And yeah, no, he'll spend a... no, it has to be on the end of someone else's turn. So so he brings his hammer down once, misses the next time. Leander, your go.
So I think I should be back up to full,
Okay.
because I had spent like 8 hit dice at the end of season 3.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna move 30 feet up. And I basically, I draw my sword, and I run my shielded gauntlet along it, casting Sacred Weapon.
Yep.
And then I'm going to, I was gonna do a compelled, yeah, I might as well try. Let's see if, yeah, I'm gonna compel the general to duel me,
Okay.
or try to. So that's a DC 15 Wisdom save.
Alrighty. He succeeds.
No. I tried. That was basically, that was basically him drawing his weapon and imbuing it with holy energy.
Sure.
Which didn't have any effect on him, I guess, but that's all I can do. It did look cool.
Gilroy.
Alright, what are the guys in the back wielding?
Spears and swords. They look like the lower rungs of the Farenwellian soldiers.
Do people throw spears?
They can.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was different from javelin. Well, I will get on top of the wagon.
Okay.
Excuse me, Jantel and Hurston.
She puts her arrow back for a moment, and then the moment you're past her,
And then I will, I don't know, just fireball as many dudes as I can, probably.
like right on this tree.
Yeah, let's blow the shit out of that tree.
I think this happened against the Giants as well.
That rubble on the side was from the last time I was here.
I know, I made a point of not removing that. So the general succeeds, the soldiers fail.
Alright. I didn't say it was going to be 5th level. Can I do that afterwards?
I wouldn't say it's presumed to be cast at any level, but it is your choice entirely. So.
Right.
Isn't that what
I mean, just...
get out of just means?
Yeah, I think so. That's
exactly.
fair.
Yeah, I don't think a 3rd level fireball would quite cut it. So,
So that makes 3rd, 4th, may I?
Yeah.
5th.
there's a lot of dice.
Alrighty. 3, 6, 9, 10, 18, 20, 28, 32.
Okay. Say goodbye to the majority of those soldiers.
Bye.
Yep.
I hardly knew you.
Yep. They emerge from the tree just in time to get completely blasted. The general himself, this magical defensive aura around him, seems to be incredibly protective, even against area of effect spells. However, Gilroy, you know it's being channeled by this.
Yeah. Take her down, Erlon! Then we can get to the general.
Now,
However,
the thing that shocks me the most isn't the fact that he just killed like 7 men in one spell. It's the fact that he made it up on top of that wagon.
Without
true.
flying.
Yeah.
I took a long time, you know.
He kind of he scrambled up there.
Yeah.
So that it's half his turn.
Right.
So that brings us to the soldiers, of which there are none until a bunch come running out from the trees as they continue to rip open, providing portals across the valley so that they don't have to contend with the power of the druids that live there. However, arriving is the entirety of their turn, which brings us back to the top of the round with Jar.
Okay, Jar's going to. What's Jar gonna
Got that fancy dagger.
do? Yeah, he does, but there's a lot of other things that could hurt him.
Fair.
So he's going to, I think, peek out from around the back of the landmaster, and he's going to try to. He's going to let the fairy fire on the warg drop, and he's going to try to hit the newcome soldiers with a hypnotic pattern.
Sure. Yeah, I can already tell you, it doesn't matter what the DC is, 3 of them are going to drop unconscious immediately.
Okay.
So I'll just put a rope on all of them. a net.
We're all tied up.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jar, you come sliding out from the other side of the landmaster with a quick word and motion of your hands. 3 of the soldiers who come marching out from these tree portals that tear open in the trunks immediately just seem to waver and fall to the side, going unconscious. That brings us to Frolthane, who is quite wrapped up at the moment. However, with a natural 20, he will easily dispatch this warg-like creature? These creatures bred for war. And that'll bring us to melee. Actually, Zorn we'll presume he's holding these guys back. Chantel will try and hit the captain, but she's gonna miss. So, melee!
So the fairy fire is gone on that one.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to use sharpshooter and try and hit him
Okay.
and finish him off.
Yeah, it's going to. They don't have a crazy AC, so...
For 24.
Done. Yeah. That one drops that being.
Okay.
That's how confident I was. I was like, I'm gonna duel the general and let melee take care of that.
No doubt.
So you guys are all with the sorceress. Leander, you're on your way. So I'm going to kind of move south about... Well, no, I'll stay where I am and try and hit that one guy I can clearly see. To the south
that one
of me,
soul?
this guy
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
The dude beyond Zorn.
Go right past him. With sharpshooter.
See?
For... What's my plus one? So... 13?
Not that
That's it.
That brings us to Erlon.
So, does she seem phased at all after that attack?
She certainly stumbles back and gives a bit of a yelp.
But she's not gonna run, you don't think?
Not yet, no. However, I mean, I would give you intimidation and advantage if you wanted to give that an attempt.
Yeah, will that take my actions for the round?
You take one of your actions. I'd let you attack it afterwards.
So like one attack this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will try to intimidate.
Okay.
Say, there's a much worse fate for you with me than with him. It's going to be 12 plus 2, 14.
She holds on, so yeah, make your attacks. Yeah.
Alright, so with Bloodletter, I swing into her for 20 unnatural.
That's gonna hit.
Yep. And I will remember to add my cold die this time.
That's new.
Yeah.
That's cool.
1d10 cold damage now
Yeah.
for a minute. So I've got 11 plus 12 damage.
12.
Yep.
And as you bring Bloodletter down, she tries to bring up a reactionary shield spell, but with this one, between channeling the spell that she has on the general, you just smash Bloodletter right through it, and with kind of the sound of shattering glass, give her a nice great sweep that cuts across her robes. And that brings us to the general. Actually, at the end of your turn, the general is going to give a command word, and he points towards all his soldiers, and he goes, "Get in there!" And they all get to take an action. So they're going to all begin moving up. And run up to the ender. A few more will make their ways through the trees. Pretty constant fight. Actually, no, we're not far enough into that.
Great.
Says the dungeon.
So,
Uh-oh.
brings us to his actual turn. And he is going to, yeah, he's got to fight her on. He kind of wants to. I'm gonna miss with that one. He's gonna miss with that one. 2 crappy 3s. Yeah, no more legendary actions. So,
I'm going to yell at him. I thought you wanted to fight, not dance.
just give me a minute. And that will bring us to Leander.
Okay.
Leander, this Farenwellian soldier, comes charging on up to you.
Oh, jeez. Shouldn't have done that, buddy. Yeah, just Leander's swinging his sword down on this guy.
Okay.
It's almost, you saw that. It was
That was close.
22.
Yep.
Level 1 Divine Smite.
It's almost a 33.
34.
Yeah.
No. 7. 13. 21.
21. He is nearly dead.
Yeah, I'll swing down on him again. A 7.
Yep.
Sacred Weapon. Adds my charisma bonus to my plus 11 attack roll. So
Nice.
Paladins.
there we go. 13, 14,
Yeah.
21.
So, in 2 quick slashes, you
Yeah.
bring this Farenwellian soldier down.
And I'll move up right next to Erlon.
Okay. Battle Brothers at it again.
That's the plan.
That brings us to Gilroy.
So I see some. I blew that tree up.
Yep.
Smoking wreckage of some Farenwellian soldiers behind it now. Off to my right is those guys are all
They're hypnotized. Yeah.
Okay, and then sort of to my left, down near Zorn, there's a couple people, right?
Yeah, there's well, Zorn has one guy that he's fighting with, but you can see kind of emerging is another battalion, essentially, that are making their way on up. So they seem to have spawned from portals a bit further back and had to slog their way up the valley, but there's more and more and more, seemingly endlessly.
So if I keep blowing trees up, they can't come out of any portals.
That's true. They have to come from further and further back.
No, I think the sorceress looking a little beat up, but not too bad.
Yeah.
I think we'll have some time before those foot soldiers get to us. So I will magic missile at we'll call it 3rd level
Okay.
against her. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I take note of the battlefield, extend my staff, and deal 3 times 5 is 15 damage.
Okay.
As these force bolts come launching out from atop this wagon, slam into the sorceress.
All right. And Yeah, she seems a bit battered. She seems reluctant to be here at the moment. That'll bring us down to the soldiers who act at the bottom of the round. They are going to spend their turn moving up. And then there's one attack to be made. Come on.
I'm gonna pose a disadvantage on that.
You missed. Don't worry about it. And that will bring us to the top of the round once more. Now, finally, I'm going to use that turn to use a legendary action. And I'm going to use the big one on Erlon, since you were taunting.
The big.
The big one. What's your AC right now, Erlon?
16.
16? Yeah. So he will be hitting you for 17 bludgeoning damage. I need you to make a strength saving throw, as he essentially brings his warhammer. Ooh, whoa, in my own displays. Brings his warhammer with this great kind of uppercut sweeping motion.
Luckily, I have
advantage.
And you have +3.
Yeah, you saved.
Yep,
So he clocks you across the jaw, essentially, with this huge sweeping uppercut attack with his warhammer, but you manage to just kind of shake it off and back in the fight. That will bring us to Jar.
How far away is he?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
40.
Yeah. Okay. It's pretty chaotic down there right now. Here, these hypnotized guys are, they're out of the fight.
I guess I'll have Jar dash up, try to take a flanking position on the general.
Sure. Yeah, squeeze your way in there.
Oh, you could take a shot at the sorceress too, right, couldn't he?
No doubt.
So maybe we'll try to do that first. So Jar will try to do that. It's like, is anybody engaged with her?
Oh yeah, Erlon is.
So would I get flanking on her as
Yeah.
well? Oh, sweet. And it takes a bonus action to activate the poison on the dagger, yeah. Just a bonus action to dash up, so just flanking attack on the sorceress.
Alright.
Dagger. Ugh. 15.
15 will hit.
Alright. For 9.
For 9.
It's pretty good for
It's a sneak attack.
that.
Oh, it's a sneak attack?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. 9, 10, 16.
So an additional 7.
Yep.
Alright. Is that the entirety of your turn? Yeah.
Yeah, because there's my
Dash,
bonus action to
attack.
dash up, yeah.
That will bring us to our favored NPCs. Rolfin. He's going to, he's going to destroy this guy.
Smash this dude.
Yeah, he just takes him and slams him into the side of the Landmaster. He is quite dead. And if there's anything resembling a barbarian rage coming from Frolfane, he's in it right now. And he begins to run on up, seemingly going to challenge all these soldiers. Though you can see he has sustained an arrow wound or two and a few cuts along him, but that's not going to slow Frolfane down. Gentel launches a few more arrows, particularly towards the ones that are coming at Maitly. She's going to hit him twice for 20 damage. The one right in front of you kind of stumbles as Gentel looses 2 quick arrows. Hurston is feeding the horses. Keep it up back there!
Keeping him calm.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're on top.
Yes. I almost just got smacked with a Farenwellian soldier.
Yeah. And that will bring us to melee.
Okay, I'm going to back up as far as I can.
Okay.
30.
Oh, you're the one running away this time.
I'm getting a better angle.
But when I say it, it's cowardly.
And it's dash underneath a cart.
I just imagine you guys yelling this.
Yeah, right?
So I'm going to use sharpshooter on the one that Chantel hit.
Let's see it.
earlier. 24.
24? We'll hit.
for 17.
Done.
And then the one that was next to them is closest to me.
Sure.
Right in front of me.
Yep.
Oh, it's a crit.
That's a crit.
All right.
Critical 19.
It counts.
Fighters. Paladins.
So it's 24.
Yep.
24. Thank you.
You got it. Quite a bit. Yeah, so you drop that one that had gotten splintered with arrows from Chantel, move to a strategic position, and as you pass over this rune circle, is it there? No, it's hiding. You guys know there's a rune circle there. it's hidden away, but you've read it before, and it says only those with the blood of the everlasting Father may pass.
Right.
And however, as you pass over it, you can feel the ground, the kind of sand and earth around that outside of this chamber has a slight vibration to it. It has an energy pulsing about it.
Trying to read me. No, not me.
No, not you. That brings us to Erlon.
Yes. So, I'm just gonna yell to this sorceress. You had your chance.
That's fair.
Reckless attack, greater weapon fighting.
All right.
215, so 20.
It's gonna hit.
Alright, so this is gonna hurt.
And your D10.
Yep, and my D10. So that's 11, plus 19 is 30, plus 1 cold damage, so 31.
The cold is... you're learning how to channel the energy.
Feel the slight chill of my weapon.
Feel a single slight chill of my weapon.
I'm just imagining like a real solid like ice cube.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I mean, you know, an epic year-long journey to this fruition, this point of ritual where he gains this ice frostborn soul for an additional 1 frost damage
For
on
a
his ass.
snowflake that hits her in the forehead
Yeah.
really hard.
No, it will have its moment. It will. Oh jeez, actually she's at negative 52 health right now, so... Alright, so yeah, you bring Bloodletter down, and in a great crushing motion, she essentially collapses, and you figure she must have been a druid, because as her robes hit the ground in a very kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi way, her material form disappears, and yet there's kind of a bed of flowers left beneath the robes, it seems. She is quite gone.
Right beneath the burning tree.
Yes!
That's an image.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
So, yeah, now I just look over to the general,
Yeah.
and I point and I say, you make me kill another person of the land, you're finished. Bring down Bloodletter right on his neck, which is not going to do much.
Which is well armored.
Yeah, which is very well. Turns out to be 16.
Clang!
But you get another. You did kill her, so you get another.
That's true.
That's true, good
Yep.
point, thank you.
You know, you play D&D long enough with people, you kind of.
I missed a week. I didn't work either. That's alright.
You will.
He's warming up
Yes.
Well,
with his cold.
cool.
This is supposed to be epic! No. Alright, so General Reeves' turn. He's going to make 2 attacks, one against Leander, one against Erlon. The attack against Leander misses, the attack against Erlon will hit for, standard attack, 23, so 11. And I guess that would technically be 12. Oh. Leander!
Okay, I'm gonna, Leander finally kind of getting in there, kind of ignoring that, push.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
trying to spread it out
he,
so that...
he would basically bash him aside with his shield
Sure.
anyways when he got up in there next to Erlon, and yeah, he's just gonna try and strike down on this general.
Okay.
18.
No.
Okay, you can try it again. For some reason, that sorceress didn't seem like she was helping that much. Now that we're actually hitting him.
His armor is still powerful plate, yeah.
20.
No.
Dang.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys, Erlon and Leander, Erlon brings down Bloodletter, there's a clashing of sparks and whatnot, you bring down your sacred weapon, and you cut into the metal, however, it doesn't seem to affect the general himself, who is practically a tin man within that suit, and that brings us from Leander to Gilroy. Starting to look like a problem magic could solve.
Yes, inevitably. Do I still see hordes of men coming out of portals?
They're marching their way on up, and there are more further down the way near the unexploded trees.
Don't you have a firewall?
Well, I'm gonna split this. Yeah, I was gonna do it with this wall of stone.
Doesn't seem destructive enough.
So, let's burn this place down.
I did say that. But I've changed my mind. I'm going to. Magical's a fickle thing. You wouldn't know.
Fine.
I'm going
Fair.
I'm going to split this battlefield like right there. With
Really?
a wall of stone. Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna cut the general in, essentially?
Yes.
Alright.
Leaving jar.
I would think, right?
Yeah.
That's preferable.
That's, okay, that's not super easy for me to whip up to represent, but, imagine, visually, that from essentially this point, you're cutting, Fralthane and, Jar within this space.
Yeah.
As well as the general, and then arcing over, down and connecting with the cliff face.
I mean, Zorn's out there, but
Zorn can levitate.
that's kind of what I figured. Is he can just fly over the other side.
You've seen him do it, so yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
So yeah, maybe it just comes shooting out from the side of the mountain as I, and this stone wall out of the ground and from the side of the cliff
Okay.
cuts this battlefield in two.
Compare your destruction between now and the first time you
Yeah, literally.
Side
Like,
by side.
that was my first erupting Earth. Maybe my second, but
So
I remember it fondly.
A whole nother squad of soldiers comes running up and starts bashing on the wall, beating against it and whatnot, and it seems as though these waves will not stop. And Gentel calls out, going, Hurston's ready to go, but whatever is within that space, this chamber, it is far beyond us. I think it best, now that we have the opportunity, we'll go north, lead them away. You find respite in there, meet us in Waterwheel. She's particularly saying this to you, mainly, as everyone else is in the midst of something crazy. And she goes, don't worry about us. We'll be fine.
I'm basically yelling back to you guys that they're going north.
Gilroy's still on the wagon.
Yeah.
That's fine, we don't need them.
That'll bring us to,
Take this wall down.
that'll bring us to Jar.
Okay.
Jar, you know, just beyond the stone wall, a huge burst of flame as Zorn lets loose another fireball, seemingly keeping back the soldiers that he's been left out with.
You're
He doesn't
buddy.
mind. That's what he's here for.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
So Jar is going to use his bonus action. He's going to whisper to his new dagger there, Zatharos.
Zatharos, yes.
It's time to kill. And so activate the poison.
Yeah. It's
On
kind of
it.
a hissing noise, as like a pneumatic release noise, kind
Okay.
of, as this green ichor begins to drip on down, and you can see when it hits the grass, when it hits the bed of flowers, which the druid had left behind, instant wilting and death. It's a powerful poison.
So Jar will try to attack the general there.
Sure.
Still flanking?
Yeah.
Oh! Yes! Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Nice, nice! 'Tis a blade destined to kill Farenwellians.
First time it is with a poison and I hit it.
Yeah.
Nice. Big money. Alright.
Above average, for sure.
Is that the dice have 22?
Yeah, there's up 22.
So 44.
Yep, and +7.
51?
51.
Wow, that's one of our biggest hits. I mean, Leander and Erlon have smacked things hard, but for Jar, 51 damage is a monster, yeah. So that is a significant wound.
What is a poison at?
It's a 2d6 for the poison, 2d6 for the sneak attack, or flank, 1d4 for the...
And so you find a weak spot in the armor, and you've seen Erlon and Leander battling away at this guy's front. Everything seems to just bounce off him with a shattering of sparks. But from behind, there's the leather straps that hold it all together, and you shove Zephyros up in there, and he... it seems to... You watch the flesh around that space go green and necrotic, and he is in great pain from that strike.
And that's my bonus action. So that's it.
Okay.
That's all I got right there.
Not
Pretty
bad.
good.
No, not bad at all, no.
Frolthane, seeing this, the earth rise up before him in this great stone wall, kind of scratches his head because he was just preparing to fight that whole front, and he turns towards you for a second, Gilroy, and goes, that you?
Indeed.
Good magic. And then he charges on over here and crushes this guy. Boom. Chantel hops up on the side of the wagon and helps Hurston get into position at the reins, extending her hand on down, hefting him on up, and fires another shot or two. Most visible target she has? Probably the general. No. Yes. 10 man. And Zorn, with a quick magic word that kind of resounds throughout this clearing, you see him not flying like Gilroy does, but kind of with a flutter of his robes, just levitates right over the wall and comes bringing himself on down before this space, and turning towards Chantel, he goes, there's a lot of them out there. And Chantel goes, yes, it's almost time we leave, friend. And Zorn goes, all right, I'm at the ready. And that will bring us to Melee. Melee, it is a cluster before you.
Yeah. But I do have a clear shot at the one right behind the one Frothing just crossed.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's one of the only 3 within the wall.
Okay, so you sharpshooter.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
That'll hit.
Yes.
For 20.
20. And again? Yep.
21.
Got him. So, yet another Farenwellian soldier drops. It's only the one beside Leander who is left within the wall, essentially.
There's no real good place I can move that would make me any more of
No, not at the
some
moment.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
You've done a good job picking away at them. Getting overwhelmed is the big danger. And that brings us to Erlon. Erlon, you see him hunch over, cry out as Jar, probably for the first time in your battles, gets a comparable hit in compared to, Leander and you are these warriors of legend nearly at this point, and you've taken down dragons and stuff. Jar has tricky magic. He's sneaky, but for the first time, he crippled an enemy that you guys were struggling with, and I don't know how you react to that, but certainly something has to flash through your mind.
Yeah, between our movements, I imagine Jar and I making eye contact, and I just give you like a solid nod.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna take that opportunity to great weapon fighting, reckless attack.
Let's see.
19 plus 5, 24.
Yes.
All right, so let's do some damage here. So 5 plus 19 is 24, plus 3 cold damage this time.
It's getting there.
Yep, 27.
There's a little bit of a chill to the air. 27, so yeah, a significant slam. As he's kind of hunched over, you just bring it down on his face and crack him over to the side. And you have more attacks.
So as I do that too, Walter kind of shifts between you and Jar, just because he's allowed. Like if he tries to hit anybody else, they'll get disadvantage.
Nice.
With the spirit
He's
protectors.
certainly looking at you.
Yeah. So I'm going to attack again,
Okay.
and that will be 27.
Yes.
And that will be 14 plus 3 cold damage, 17.
17. It's
We're working our
slowly.
way up, yeah.
It's building.
It's a new power.
Very nice.
I'm
So
kind
yeah.
of imagining as you're whipping the blade around, it's like almost a small storm brewing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah. He's
collecting.
garnering cold energy.
The frost is gathering on the
Yeah.
ground.
Exactly. Oh, that was cool.
You got a scarf.
So that
Famously, scarf.
yes. For the end of your turn, he's going to use all of his legendary action points to, at disadvantage, make an attack against Jar. He's going to try the big uppercut swing that he does.
And Jar's gonna use cutting words
Doesn't your back hurt?
Cut away!
for -2.
What is your AC right now?
My AC is
You
16.
You threw a 17, yeah. So you got, yeah!
Just
It was,
Oh, sorry. Can I use my sentinel feat? Because if he attacks anybody else, I can attack him.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Oh,
I'm 5
totally.
feet.
He turns to hit Jar.
I missed.
Jar,
Clang,
doesn't
yeah.
your back hurt right now? Erlon swings his back.
Using this poor man.
yeah, no, he has a gratuitous attack bonus, but 4 plus 13, and then you cut him down to a 15. So yeah, that cutting words, he kind of slips up for a moment. Erlon, though no significant damage, does bring him off balance, and you just dodge out of the way as he brings this huge uppercut. And then he's going to turn back towards Erlon, and he goes, "Oh, I hate this!" And it's going to be 1 hit. It's going to be 2 hits, so it's going to be 24 damage in total. So, though he is looking quite wounded, he brings some significant hits down on Erlon, battering him back for the time being. That brings us to Leander. Leander, you got one guy next to you, though. Frolthane looks like
Yeah.
he's about ready to take care of that.
I'm not too concerned about him. Yeah, Leander's sword glowing, like, with a bright white hotness, just bringing it down, cutting through this dude's plate. A 19.
Not quite.
Okay, swinging again. Oh, nat 20.
Nice!
He's done.
He's done!
Okay. Right, alright, hold on.
Now we gotta do
One.
math.
2, okay. Yeah. That's pretty solid. 13, 15, 20, 26, 52, 52, and then 59. 59 damage.
Wow. You guys just took this guy out through critical hits. However, still standing. So yeah, the first one commonly seems to just be shuddering sparks everywhere. The second one, you get a thrust between his plate that glows brightly, and he recoils as you sear into him with that stab. And that brings us to Gilroy.
Alright, so the idea is we're gonna finish this guy off before we
For you treat,
retreat prior.
feels like it would be worth doing. If you leave him around,
Yeah.
he'll just come back.
Alright, when does Erlon act?
Erlon acts in the middle of the round.
Well, I will enlarge Erlon. Really get that giant feeling. Tower over this dude.
I like it.
Awesome. Very nice. Okay, so Erlon grows and
You and
stabs him.
Frolthane just hug it out after this.
Yep.
Yeah, Frolthane taking 2 steps back. Whoa! That'll bring us to our soldiers, who they're not going to do anything effective right now, so that'll bring us to Jar.
Okay, Jar will use his bonus action to hex
Okay.
the general. So I don't think you get to save on that.
No, there is no save.
And so I'll just choose strength for your ability checks that are at disadvantage.
Okay.
That's likely to be an issue. But so then, so I guess the jar just be like, die, and he'll take the dagger,
Sure.
and try to score another hit. Still flanking, yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, double!
.0025% chance. Shoot!
I get to add an extra d6 this time for the hex.
Oh yeah.
And necrotic damage.
Double 20!
Oh, again.
20.
That is absurd.
Not so good this time.
It's still gonna be
5
good damage.
necrotic.
Right under his helmet. You go.
So it's 14 double to 28 plus 7,
35.
35.
He is on his last legs as you bring Zephyros once more. You're essentially in an incredibly swift movement. Yeah, your hex die, and you get him on the side of the neck, and he kind of has to hold it back, and that will bring us from Jar to Frolfing, who is more concerned with this.
So Frothdane runs in and steals it.
No way.
But if Frothing moves, I might get a shot. I wouldn't do that.
Frolfing hits twice, so he's gonna take that guy out. And you see Zorn kind of runs up behind Frolfing and sticks a hand on his huge, bulky arm. And Zorn, looking up at him, goes, Frolfing, it's time to go. And Frolfing looks down. He goes, not yet. Want to see this? And Melee.
I'm gonna ready in action. If the general escapes,
You're gonna shoot
running
him.
towards me. Then I'll shoot.
That is totally fair. Also, I mean, you know, some of these soldiers may very well be making their way over the wall, trying to climb it. We could presume you're holding them off. You're going to hit them, so we're at that point, essentially. So Erlon!
So I just look at him staggering back, and again, I just look at Jar, now giant, and I yell down at the general as my shadow like overcomes him, and be like, "I'm gonna pop you like a grape." And bring Bloodletter down. Reckless attack, great weapon fighting.
Let's see it!
19 plus 5, 24.
Yep.
What do I get now that I'm
D4.
An extra D4?
Yeah, it's not really that significant.
No, but it's cool.
Alright, so that's
The cold.
25, 7 cold, plus 2 more.
Okay, yeah, you with that movement, you bring Bloodletter on down with this huge sweep, and you feel the cold puncture through his armor, the metal freeze, and then you just break on through, essentially eviscerating him, and he stumbles on back. And spits out blood as he falls to the ground dead. And Frolfing, he turns towards Zorn and goes, now we can go. And Zorn makes his way on back and seems to be whispering some words to the horses. Maybe he picked up some transmutation from Gilroy. He's normally only evocation, but or maybe he just really likes the horses. You can't quite tell yet. And Frolfing also turns for a moment, looks at the wagon, and turns back towards you, Arlon, and he goes, you look strong like that.
I am. I'm ready to bust through this wall and kill the rest of them.
Wow.
I wasn't going to say it.
You're brave, but we have to go. I think it's smart. See you in Waterwheel, friend. And he essentially extends one huge hand to another, and you get this huge handshake, and there's like a huge clap throughout the space, and then he makes his way on over to the cart. And looking up at Gilroy, he goes, "You need a hand."
If you would.
He grabs you by the scruff and sets you down.
Zorn, I'm sorry about the wall. I'm glad you made it over.
Not to worry, friend.
Be seeing you.
magic is a fickle thing, he says as he gets up on the wagon. And, so, you can hear the Farenwellians clattering against the wall. They seem to be beating their weapons. The occasional one tries to climb on over, but either Melee or Gentel send a quick arrow, and they stumble on back, falling down. It seems like they're not going to break through in any ready amount of time. However, Erlon, you do feel the ground rumbling quite a bit near that chamber as you approach. Melee, you've noted that if you step any further back towards the cave entrance there, the chamber entrance, there's just an invisible wall. There's a powerful enchantment that stops you completely. You cannot even push into it. However, Erlon, as you, presumably you approach, right?
Yeah.
As you approach, your blood dripping onto the ground, you bring yourself up to that wall, and for but a moment, you have to press your hand against it, and the blood drips invisibly down the air, following along the wall, and suddenly you can feel a rumbling and a movement as it seems this invisible stone moves aside, and you guys are permitted entrance into these chambers here. And while that is occurring, the rest of your companions, you hear Hurston crack their whips and give a great "yeah!" And the Landmaster begins making its way on out with the clip-clopping of hooves at great speed. And with the wall, they'll have more than enough of a head start. You're pretty confident they're just going to lead these guys around the mountain, make their way back to Farenwell, and they will be fine. And so, that brings us into this mysterious space, closed off to all but those who possess the blood of the Everlasting Father. And after a short, earthy passage, you enter a chamber of simple stone design, roughly square in shape and dimly lit. Lining the wall facing the entrance is a line of lifelike statues, all portraying meditative poses in one way or another, yet their faces are twisted in anguish. As your eyes quickly adjust to the darkness, you note that one is not like the others. The center statue, in fact, resembles Zelriak, the druid you had saved and Gilroy had freed some weeks prior in the Whispering Woods. Though he must be actively petrifying, as he is almost entirely motionless, and yet only half of his face and the arm gripping his staff are flesh, not stone. Slowly he blinks and peers upon you.
Ah, greetings. It is good to see you once more. This means all things are going as intended.
What's happening to you?
It is a tale.
Breathes in deeply, you hear that his lungs essentially struggle, as they must be partially stone. And he goes,
Long ago, before the age of Mithril, Grelter the Ice Giant taught mortal kind how to survive in the harsh north of Alaire. Yet he was just one of many great beings who exert their influence in this age, and yes, each with ulterior motives in one form or another. Zixalone, the Spider King, Diastris, Master of the Whispering Woods, and more. You see, certain magic had been discovered, more powerful and subtle than the others, and everyone desired to tame it, use it for their own benefit. Yet they did not realize the danger, the consequences of controlling such a force. Even Grelter, one way or another, disagreements grew into feuds, and my lady Diastris cursed Grelter's name, as well as this very land, so that the overworld may never be settled in Karad more. Even your settlement of Waterwheel is inevitably doomed, like all surface settlements of this land. Did you ever wonder how that lake was made? Why it's surrounded by ruins? First, yes, it starts with a frenzy of frost giants, but for the elves who lived there in Grelter's age, it ended in something much more spectacular. I digress. I am bound to this fate, and there is no hope of reversing this state. I am a pawn in Diastris's plans. It is by this process that she gains her power. But I will tell you this, the way forward is open, and she awaits. Though it will be difficult for even the strongest child of Brawlter, let alone his allies.
And the stone overcomes him. So, you sense quickly that there appears to be a seal, much like the one that you had witnessed on the outside, on the way further into this passage. So that means that this room is particularly safe, and you guys would be permitted to have a long rest, regain your spells, regain your HP, and prepare to face whatever is in this subterranean space and Diastris, the matron of the Whispering Woods. And with that, we will cut to break. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the new season of the Lands of Alaire. Quite a battle to kick it off against this General Reeve and the rest of the Farenwellian forces.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Always good to see some of our regulars and some new faces. Thank you to Rainbow Skittles and Nerd Gamer 77 for the follows. Much appreciated. If you're watching here on Twitch, and you're new to Freakopolis, consider following yourself. Well, consider following us. Or subscribing. You can do that for free with Amazon Prime. You can subscribe to one channel per month, and we'd love for that to be us. It does so much to help support the show and keep us making awesome new content. If you're on YouTube, we're climbing up a little over 300 subs now, so consider subscribing, liking, commenting. Let us know what you think of the current episode, the new season.
Yep. And if you are new, the vast majority, and soon to be all, of the prior episodes are up on YouTube. And Season 1 is certainly much different than Season 4. However, it is all worth watching, and I advise, if you want all the story and adventure and action that has led up to this point, be sure to visit our YouTube and start there, or wherever you find you enjoy it. So, we will be back in about 5 minutes after a quick break, have our party take a long rest, and we'll see what this Diastris character is about. Catch you then, guys!